Peace and love, family. Welcome to another Black African Power lecture series. Tonight, family, we have in the building one of our own, Baba Amin Woke family. He's going to bring it tonight. But before I bring him on, family, I got to make a few announcements. Family, make sure that you get your child enrolled in the UACI STEM camp. This is an African centered STEM camp that utilizes an African centered approach to teach STEM concepts. Okay. And so it's seasonal, family. So we have this now, mind you, for about 3 years, Bob and I have been doing this in the summer, but we are, he and I have been talking about this for quite some time, offering a winter cycle as well as a spring cycle. And so this year, for the very first time, we will be offering a winter cycle of the UACI STEM camp. Your children will be exposed to African STEM history. They will be also exposed to cybersecurity and or artificial intelligence and machine learning. All right. And so head on over to uacistemcamp.com. Check out the website. Check out the website, family. You can look and see our 2024 camp participants, our graduates. You'll get some information on the instructors of the camp. You see Baba Amin, myself, and Mr. Sean Gale. Shout out to Mr. Gales and Brother Nasir and Brother Chaz. So, family, the team is here, and then you can get our bios. All of our bios are here, family. All right. So you'll learn more about the camp, the instructors, and what we offer. And as Baba always says, and I love it when he says this is the premier camp. You're not going to find this nowhere else. This is a premier camp. So family, make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity to expose your child to STEM in the way in which it should be, in which they should be exposed to. Do you understand what I mean? So we're not exposing them to STEM in the traditional way. Okay, we're exposing them to STEM the way it should be taught to Black children. All right, so head on over to UACI STEMcamp.com and enroll your child today in the winter cycle. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat. I'm also going to put it on the screen. All right. I'm also going to put it on the screen. And family, also make sure that you head on over to MELTREK365.com. Head on over to MELTREK365.com to get your MELTREK films and books for your babies. All right, family. And so for those of you who are not familiar with the MELTREK series, it is an animated series and book series that teaches children about our history from our perspective. If you go on over here to the website, scroll down to films. You'll see we offer 3 films right now. MELTREK Exploring Ancient Africa. That was our first episode. And the objective of this episode is to teach our children that our history does not begin with slavery, but with greatness. And that we built thriving civilizations prior to our contact with Europeans and Arabs. All right. MELTREK episode 2, Exploring the pre-Columbian Americas, gives our children the history of the people who are indigenous to America, right? So they learn about the Black and brown presence in America prior to the arrival of Christopher Columbus. And in MELTREK episode 3, we talk about the Ma'afa, right? The era of enslavement and colonization of African people. We started with the Portuguese, but we could have went back, right? And started with the trans-Saharan slave trade. But we started with the Portuguese when they invaded West Africa. And so if you come down, you click on any of these films, it'll take you over here to this screen where you can download these films instantly. And family, last but not least, man, let me just Google real quick the Uhuru Academy, family. Make sure you get your children out of the public food system and into our school system, the Uhuru Academy. And shout out to the parents that have been doing that. I've been getting, and shout out to Coach. Coach, you just hit me up on Instagram a week ago. Doc, what should I do? And you all already know that when you call me up, I'm going to say, put your child in the Uhuru Academy. And Baba can attest to this because when you all hit me up, I literally screenshot your messages and I send it to Baba. So Baba know that I'm promoting him and I'm letting folks know about how wonderful the Uhuru Academy is. And family, I'm telling you, Jalen loves it. Jalen loves it. And he got dressed up. He looked so cute on Friday. He got dressed up because they had their ancestor ball. And then on Thursday, he had to present. And he was Malcolm X. And he showed me his presentation. So for Halloween, Okay, because a lot of people had their children dressed up as Little Kim and Goose, no shot at DJ Yimby, but Little Kim, right? And Jason and Michael Myers and all these people at the Uhuru Academy. Your child will dress up as our ancestors. And so Baba gives them a list that they can choose from, or they can choose their own. And then they do presentations for a couple of days. And so Jalen chose Malcolm X, and then he put together his presentation on Canva. So our children are getting exposed to all of these tools. I don't even know how to use Canva for PowerPoint presentations. Okay, so family, I'm telling you, this is the place to be for Black children. All right, liberation through African-centered education. Ashe. So family, I'm going to drop this link in the chat as well. Hold on. Let me drop this link in the chat as well and also put it on the screen. Let's get our babies enrolled. And Baba and them, they're getting ready to stop taking folks. All right. So you wanna get them in here while you can, okay? Because they have their limits too. Okay. Some of you all are dragging your feet. I do this forever. I do it one day. No, man. No, time is of the essence. Okay. So you come on over here to this website, beautiful website, and learn more about the Uhuru Academy. And family, you know what I did not do? I did not drop the MELTREK365.com link in the chat. So let me drop that in the chat for you guys as well. And then we're going to bring on our Baba, our Saber, our Jegna to enlighten us on Black activism, right? And how Black activism must include political activism, right? And a lot of us, I'm pro-Black, doc, but I ain't dealing with them politics. No, Black activism must include political activism. And so tonight, Baba is going to talk to us about one of our great ancestors who was involved, who was a Black activist, who was involved in the political scheme. She was right there. Fannie Lou Hamer. We just celebrated her birthday a couple of weeks ago. All right. So salute to our ancestors and salute. I see the Maadian families in the building. Peace and love to the Maadian family. I see the families watching on IG. Peace and love to your family. Let's do this right now before we even bring Baba on. Share this discussion, family. Share this discussion. Let's take the link and let's put this link in our family group chats, our friend group chats. Post this link on social media. Let's get the word out that Dr. Maat is live, and she's live with one of our giants, Baba Amin Ojuwoke, okay? And he's going to bring it, family. So let's fill up these virtual seats. So without further ado, I bring to you our Baba, our Mwalimu, our Saber, our Jegna, Baba Amin Ojuwoke. Peace and love to you, Baba. How are you?
I am doing great, Dr. Mayat. How about yourself?
I'm doing fabulous, excited about this presentation. I didn't feel too good when Jalen came home and started telling me things about Fannie Lou Hamer that I didn't know. And
Okay.
he said, look, he said, I learned this. Baba Amin taught me this. And Baba Amin taught me this. We learned about, and he started, right? I mean, he started, and I said, wow. I said, I didn't know that about Fannie Lou Hamer. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Baba, you're doing a wonderful job, educating our babies,
Good thing.
and they're paying attention to you. They absorb what you say. I remember just taking Jay to a lecture with Anthony T. Browder, and
Yeah.
he was talking about the 25th dynasty. As soon as he mentioned 25th dynasty, Jalen said, oh, I learned about Taharka. He was a king during the 25th
Yes.
dynasty. I said, Jay, where you learned that? Baba taught me. So Baba, he's listening.
I
He's
say.
listening
I
and
say.
he's absorbing, what you are teaching. And so, shout out to you and Mama and Koyo and
Yes.
just the wonderful things you all are
Yes.
doing with our youth at the Hoover Academy.
Well, definitely. And shout out to you as well and all of our parents. Without you all making the investment and trusting us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And so, the Uhuru Academy is built by the Black community.
Ashe.
We don't get outside funding. We don't get outside support. I'm not a bad guy that went good. This ain't a redemption story. This is a redeeming story. You know what I'm saying? And the Uhuru Academy story is a story of redeeming who we are as a people, because we wouldn't be who we are without the community around us and supporting us. you know.
Ashe.
And so I'm grateful, and we've been blessed with some powerful students. Jalen is one of one. Okay, and he's a
Ashe.
powerful young engineer. He's who Marcus Garvey said we needed to be waiting for, a young scientist
Mm,
that's going to invent, that's going to innovate. And I truly admire how he's bought in. Teachers, we don't choose our students choose us.
that's
And
right.
it's an honor for such a brilliant young brother and all of our young brothers and young sisters in school to
Mhm.
choose us, because the parents can put you, your parents can put you wherever they want to put you, but if you don't buy in, it's not going to work, right?
That's right.
So we believe that as adults, we control the process, but our children control the results. So any results we get at the Uhuru Academy, we also have to lay not just at the feet of our teachers, but also at the feet of our students as well.
Beautiful, Baba. And Baba, I want to do this, and I'm gonna put this in the chat and also on the screen. Your Cash App is $ Uhuru Academy, right?
Yes, we keep it simple. Dollar
Right.
sign Uhuru Academy.
Make sure
Hashtag give
this is
thanks.
make sure that this is the correct one. So Baba, just
Yes,
verify that.
yes,
Did I
that is
spell it
correct.
correct? Did I spell it correctly? Not too
Spelled
many.
it right. You know, I know it by heart. So yes,
so so family, right now I want you all to join me and making a love donation to the Uhuru Academy. Give what you can, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 if you can. Let's make sure that we shower Baba with some love, man, and with
I
some
say.
support. Okay, Baba, time is money, man. He's
I
coming on
know.
here, he's
Hey,
giving us
and
a
you did
whole.
that. I'm about to put my desk in stand up position. You done put the cash app up. I'm gonna have to stand up for y'all tonight. Hold up. I'm gonna have to
Look,
stand
Baba
up
get
for
ready to
y'all. Them
he
folks
get ready to
that,
bring it.
you know,
He's getting ready to present. And,
yeah,
and so
we don't get
time,
no donations. I'll
come
sit
on,
down
we
and
need
talk.
some. Look, we need some donations, family. So let's give. Join me right now. Let's give what we can. Shoot Bible. Let's shoot him a donation, a love donation, family. Like I said, 5, 10, 20, 30, whatever you can afford. Let's shower him with some love. He's getting ready to present. And like I said, time is money. He could be anywhere, but he's getting ready to edify us. Ashe. And so class is in session.
Mm,
Baba, you have the floor.
all
And so
right.
just share your screen when you're ready.
All right, cool. Peace and power, family. Again, we give thanks to the Creator for the opportunity to be here tonight. We give thanks to the ancestors as well. We give thanks to you, Dr. Maat, for having
Ashe.
this powerful platform and inviting us to be on it, to be a
Ashe.
part of it, to impart a little information tonight, y'all, that many of you may know, some of you may not know. But you know what? Let's grow together. Let's learn and grow together. I'm going to share. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. I'm going to share my screen, and let me find the right window here.
It's all good, Baba.
I just found it. I just found it. All right, boom. And let's go here. All right. Family, can we see our screen?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about Black activism, right? The topic is Black activism must include political activism, right? And we're going to be looking at this through the lens of one of our great ancestors, Nana Fannie Lou Hamer. And we're going to talk about Fannie Lou Hamer and how Black political activism and participation has historically impacted this place we call the United States. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it right now, family. Before we get into it, it's not going to be a thing where I'm just going to say, all right, let's talk about Fannie Lou Hamer. One thing I've learned over 30 years of teaching in our community, historical context is very important, right? It's important not only so you understand where I'm coming from, but it's also important so we can establish a perspective, right? So we can establish perspective in everything that we do, right? And so we can't talk about Black political participation. You can't start that conversation at the ballot box. I know we have an election coming up in 2 days, and a lot of times when people think Black political power, they think about the vote. But everything is political, family. right? And our journey here in the United States has certainly been that since the beginning, right? No need to remind you that people of African descent were officially enslaved as a part of the United States since its inception in 1776. Now, we know that we had ancestors being brought over here as early as 1555, enslaved by the Spanish, the French, and others. We understand that when England came and established the colonies, slavery was, we had ancestors that were enslaved as well. But we're talking today, we're speaking inside of the context of the history of the United States, which was ratified in 1776, right? And then we were officially, you see them quotes, officially enslaved until the end of the Civil War in 1865. So as a country, the United States, our ancestors were enslaved here officially. I'm talking about on the books from 1776 to 1865. Now, but one thing that's important to remember, our political activity didn't start when we got the vote. Our people were politically active in the United States since its inception, even during slavery. We had Black abolitionists like Frederick Douglass, who became one of the most famous men in the world speaking out against slavery. You had Harriet Tubman, right? Who I would consider her an abolitionist, you know, an aggressive one. I mean, you know, she helped lead many of us to freedom. She joined the Union Army, even led missions to free African people, right? But then you also had Black separatists during that time. Yeah, that didn't start with Marcus Garvey. It didn't just start with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. In the late 1700s and early 1800s, you had people like Paul Cuffey and Martin Delaney who spoke out, and they believed in separation. They believed that the answer was for African people to not only win our freedom, but to build a nation of our own outside of the United States, right? And don't forget about the Black militias. Right? You had Nat Turner, my favorite Christian preacher. You had Denmark Vesey. You had Gabriel Prosser and others, David Walker, who wrote David Walker's Appeal that called for Black people to take up arms in order to win their freedom. So I put that reminder there to remind us that we have been politically active in this country since this country's inception, right? Also remember, over 180,000 Black troops fought for freedom in the Civil War. I know y'all saw Glory. They showed one battalion in Glory. Right? But they didn't let us, but we've never, and when we get the narrative, we never get the full scope to think about the fact that over 180,000 Black men and women participated in the Civil War. So when they say who freed African people in America, you can say African people. Because we had to fight for that. We had to bleed for that. And we didn't start fighting for it when the Civil War started, right? That's something to remember. But also remember, politically, right? You had over 4 million enslaved Africans in the country at that time, right? Now, freedom was promised politically if the war was won. As a matter of fact, General Sherman, out of guilt, but that's another story, he signed Field Order 15. Lincoln supported it, where they set aside 400,000 acres of land stretching from Charleston, South Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida. They set that aside for Black settlements. As a matter of fact, the Black families who began settling on that land, they began forming their own government at the time. They wanted to form their own Congress. They planned to form their own Supreme Court and their own executive branch. In other words, they wasn't building a Black state. They were building a Black country. And that's something that's not talked about, well, hardly ever, that reparations actually did happen. It only lasted for 9 months, but it did happen, right?
Wow.
The first political betrayal, and this has a lot to do with what we're going to talk about with Fannie Lou Hamer. The first political betrayal of Black people were when we fought for that. And then because at the end of the day, both wings of the same party wanted to unify again. They wanted to preserve the union, and they decided to compromise. But what did they compromise? They compromised their promise to us. In other words, they came right back in after Lincoln was assassinated. Andrew Johnson took over. They came right in and snatched those 400,000 acres of land right out from under us after that promise took place. All right. So after the war, blacks began migrating, though, and building communities and townships throughout the United States. Black people were building towns in South Carolina, in Georgia, in Mississippi, in Tennessee. Many of the towns that were burnt down during the war, like Wilmington, North Carolina, were rebuilt by black people. And then as a result of the 14th and 15th Amendment, you had the Reconstruction period to begin, right? So now we're around between 1865 and 1876 is considered that period of Reconstruction. What happens during Reconstruction, y'all? Over 2,000 black people were elected to political office throughout the country at that time, including 2 senators, several people in Congress, right? And then thousands of people were taken over local and even state governments. Why? In many of the slave states or southern states, black people outnumbered white people. So where we were the majority, we actually began to take over politically, but also economically. In several of these areas, you had the black labor force, the most skilled labor force in America, clearing out swampland, like the case like Mound Bayou in Mississippi, clearing out the swampland, right? And purchasing that land and building their own towns, building their own communities, electing their own sheriffs, their own officials. Yeah, y'all, this happened. This really happened. Right? This is the Reconstruction period, including America's first black senator was elected during that time out of Mississippi, named Hiram Nevels, right? We'd be shocked in 2024 to get a black senator out of Mississippi. But in the late 1800s, we even had a black senator coming out of Mississippi named Hiram Nevels. Now, hold up. Y'all understand, y'all know that the white South wasn't having it. But they were getting punished from seceding from the Union, right? Starting their own nation, right? And then going to war with the Union, with the United States. Well, part of their punishment was, we're going to let black people do some stuff to y'all. We're going to make y'all sit back and watch black people be free for a little bit. We're going to make you sweat, right? But Andrew Johnson, who took over for Abraham Lincoln, he wasn't going to let his brethren from the South sweat for too long. Okay, so basically what he did was he went from Reconstruction to Restoration. All right, we've reconstructed. Now we're going to restore the South. And he came in and he took back Field Order 15 and he withdrew the troops from the South. And he basically told his white cousins down there, hey, y'all take back the South by any means necessary. The federal government is not going to interfere. So when you have the Republicans bragging, talking about we're the party that freed the slaves, the party of Lincoln, you're also the party that pulled the troops. You didn't send more troops. That was bipartisan. In order to bring the nation back together, black people had to suffer. So we had to suffer, and we had to suffer to build the nation. We had to suffer to save the nation during the Civil War. Then we had to suffer again so they can pull the nation back together. And now neither one of your political parties will even say the word reparations. All right. So this is the context. This is the world in which Fannie Lou Hamer was born. See, a lot of us consider people who were born in the Jim Crow era like all they knew was slavery. Then they went to Jim Crow. No, many of those people knew slavery, but then they had a taste of freedom too. But now they were dealing with Jim Crow coming in, snatching what the little bit of freedom that they had earned. So I want to just establish a little context tonight, right? So we can understand and that you can see the pattern of compromise that goes on. So you can kind of understand why Baba Amin always says you're just dealing with 2 wings on the same bird. You're not dealing with parties, you're dealing with factions of the same party. Ashe. All right. Now, understand this. After Restoration began and Jim Crow was established, from 1900 to 1965, the vast majority, I'm not talking about 51%, I'm talking about anywhere from 85 to 95% of the black people who lived in the deep southern states were not allowed to vote. Why is that important? Because voting is a tool that you use, right, to put platforms on the agenda in government that dictates how money is spent, dictates how you treat it as a worker, dictates your education, the whole 9 yards. And shout out to black men and black women during the Reconstruction period, because one thing that they introduced into government during that time was public school for black people and white people, right? Yet when Jim Crow came in, again, control of the education was at play. Where you can work, how you can work. You see the emergence of the sharecropping system. So many black families lost their land. Do y'all know between 1865 and 1910, black people had acquired almost 20 million acres of farmable land? That land began to be stolen and systemically taken from them, beginning in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Well, let's talk about Miss Fannie Lou. Fannie Lou Hamer was born October 6, 1917 in Montgomery County, Mississippi. A family moved to Sunflower County, where she would grow up, as the youngest of 20 children. Whew, that's a lot of babies. We had big families back then, right? Tragically, and I couldn't even write this on my slide, during her lifetime, Miss Hamer was actually one of thousands of black women in the state of Mississippi that were sterilized without their knowledge and against their will. So she was never able to have biological children, right? So let's just jump that off right now. That's the first thing that was stolen from her ability to reproduce. That was stolen from her by the state, right? She began sharecropping at the age of 6. She tells a story of walking down the road and the sharecropper owner, the planter, the white man who owned the plantation, passed by and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And she said, "I'm doing good, sir." And he said, "Do you think you can pick cotton?" And she said, "I don't know." And she said, he told her, "Well, if you get out there, if you can pick 30 pounds of cotton by the end of this week, I'll take you to the commission store and get you some of that good stuff you like to eat, maybe some ice cream or something like that." She said, okay, and tried it. Little did she know that her career was beginning as a sharecropper at 6 years old. She said, by the time I was 8, I could do 100 pounds a week. She ended up dropping out of school at the age of 12. To help her family out there in the field, because her family, her father sharecropped, her mother sharecropped, her siblings sharecropped, and then she inherited that as well. No need for education when your future has been set, right? She didn't learn that black people had the right to vote until she was 42 years old, attending a church meeting that was hosted by SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. In other words, remember when I told y'all during Reconstruction in the late 1800s, black people were not only participating in the political process, but changing America through the political process during Reconstruction. They did such a thorough job of wiping out that progress that by the time Fannie Lou Hamer came along, she had no knowledge that the right to vote for black people even existed. No one that she knew participated in the political process. Their politics was surviving from one day to the next. So she got enamored by that. She was fascinated. She was like, "You mean I can vote, and with this vote, we can vote out the crooked sheriff? We can vote out a crooked mayor. We can vote out people that are mistreating us. I want to use this vote." She went down to register to vote. When she went down to register to vote, they turned her away. When they turned her away, they called the man that she worked for, that her family, that owned her family. Let's just call it what it was. The man that owned her family. By this time, of course, she's 42. She has a husband. They called him and said she was down here trying to vote. Soon as she got back to the plantation, she was evicted for trying to vote. When she moved to a friend's house, somebody else who was interested in the vote, within the next couple of days, somebody put 16 bullets inside the house, shot up the house. This is one sharecropper trying to vote in Mississippi. She wasn't famous, just one sharecropper story trying to vote in Mississippi, right? So she continued to do it, right? She continued to organize with SNCC, and then they actually even came up with their own political party called the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Now, they did something similar in Lowndes County, Alabama as well. Matter of fact, that's where the Black Panthers got their inspiration from. The strategy that SNCC, and shout out to our great ancestor, Nana Ella Baker, who was a great mind, one of the greatest political minds, Black political minds of the 20th century. I believe she doesn't get the respect she deserves simply
She
because she's a
she
woman.
doesn't. She
But
doesn't.
but definitely shout out to Ella Baker. Much respect to Ella Baker, who founded SNCC, who brought these young people together, organized young people like John Lewis and Stokely Carmichael, who become Kwame Ture, and equipped them with the tools and strategies to go into the deep South. This is grassroots, going in where Fannie Lou Hamer lived, right? In the swamplands, to educate them about political power and political rights. Well, at that time, the Democratic Party controlled the South, right? They call them the Dixiecrats, but they were the Democratic Party. They controlled the South, and they used domestic terrorism on the regular, right, to make sure that Black people did not vote. Now, don't think, oh, there you go, dogging the Democrats. Hey, they did it, okay? And don't worry, I dog the Republicans too, because they watched them do it. They let them do it, and they supported it. It was a bipartisan agreement. Fannie Lou Hamer and her team were coming back from a conference on a bus. They pulled into a small town in Mississippi. Little did they know that law enforcement was waiting for them. In short, they pulled them all off the bus, including Fannie Lou Hamer, took her to jail, and beat her within an inch of her life for trying to vote again. Not only did they do it, they forced 2 Black male prisoners to strike the blows. She suffered a broken orbital bone, hip injuries, and a permanent kidney injury that would affect her for the rest of her life. But she didn't stop. Matter of fact, it strengthened her resolve, right? The Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, they said, you know what? Technically, according to the Constitution, we're supposed to, not only do we have the right to vote, but the regular Democratic Party in Mississippi, they're violating our constitutional rights. So they're not even legit. So what the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party did, they set up and organized a mock election. They said, we're going to hold an election and we're going to let Black people vote in our election for our delegates to the Democratic Party. They garnered over 50,000 votes. In order that would empower them to be seated, right, as a delegate from Mississippi for the Democratic Party. And they didn't go to sit next to the Southern Democrats of Mississippi. They went to replace the Southern Democrats from Mississippi. Now, what was going on during this time is that the Democrats in the South were kind of threatening to lead a party. They had been threatening to lead a party since the New Deal during the Great Depression. Right, the New Deal, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he passed the New Deal, he offered opportunities, welfare, homestead acts, things like that more than just white people could take advantage of. Well, when Black people started standing up in the South, and when the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party went and embarrassed Mississippi at the Democratic National Convention in the early 60s, that was the last straw for many Southern Democrats. The Democrats actually lost Mississippi and haven't had Mississippi. They haven't won Mississippi since. Shout out to Fannie Lou Hamer, messed up Mississippi for the Democratic Party. That's why today's Republicans, when they say, we the ones that freed the slaves, we the ones that fought for civil rights. No, y'all the ones that was the Democrats hanging people. Y'all just switched over to the Republican Party when Black people started joining the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party from the beginning, check this out. When they went and they demanded to be seated at the Democratic National Convention, Dr. King spoke up and said, I think it's important that they are seated, right? People were looking at the potential of millions of Black people in the South who hadn't voted for 60 years. And all of a sudden, you about to wake this voting block up and thinking, well, if we wake them up, they're going to vote for us. But then they got to think about how many white votes are we going to lose? And what are these Black people going to try to do? Because we already told that the whites in the South that they could have the South back. So what's going to happen in areas like where Fannie Lou Hamer came from, where Black people are 70% of the population? Or the state of Mississippi that was 50% Black at the time. You had other whites, though, that were sitting back like, we ain't got to worry about much because of the terrorism, because of everything that was going on in the South, many blacks were migrating out of Mississippi anyway. So as they were migrating out of Mississippi, then the numbers were going what? Going down. So you're looking at this like, okay, if we give them civil rights, right? Whites will still be in control because many of them are what? Leaving. Well, the government refused to recognize, the main Democratic Party refused to recognize the Mississippi Democratic Freedom Party. Flat out refused them. No, we're not going to let you send any delegates. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you 2 at-large seats. The party said, no, that's not, no, we're not compromising. They said, okay, well, we're not going to give you anything. But because of the publicity and because of the pressure, they passed the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which gave the federal government the power to protect state and local elections. But that was a direct impact of the work that Fannie Lou Hamer was doing. That's not what they wanted, though. Again, another compromise where black people are still not getting what they need or what they want, but you get a little sliver, a little piece of something to hold on to, and that becomes the whole narrative. But they never tell you what they were really asking for in the first place. What they were asking for in the first place was to take over.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
She would go on to kind of be one of the faces of the civil rights movement, but she became more and more disillusioned with things because she kept noticing that black people often got compromised out of everything. Yeah, give us your vote and we'll appoint the first Negro farming commissioner in the state of Mississippi. Okay, but what we want is farms, not a Negro farming commissioner.
Right.
All right, give us your vote and we'll give you the first Negro judge in the district. Okay, but what we want is a just and fair judicial system, not a black judge.
Ashe.
And we began to get lulled to sleep and taking these tokens. Well, people like Fannie Lou Hamer, they know a token when they see one because she's still connected to who? To the community, to the people that she was representing in the first place. She actually ran for the state Senate, the state house of Mississippi, and didn't win. Because even in the state of Mississippi, they were not trying to recognize the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Ultimately, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party got absorbed by the mainstream party. They just say, hey, we want y'all because we want to take your votes. And you know what? We're gonna protect the ballot box. What are they gonna protect?
The ballot box.
Ballot box, right? We're not gonna protect your schools. Matter of fact, we'll integrate. And integration ended up closing down a lot of black schools and busing a few black students to predominantly white schools. You never saw the reverse happen, right? What people like Fannie Lou Hamer was saying was, no, make our school look as good as their school since we're paying taxes too. Y'all see the difference?
That absolutely.
Right. And so this culture of compromise, right, stressed her and disillusioned her in a lot of activists, including Kwame Ture or Stokely Carmichael. That's where you started hearing the slogan Black Power. A lot of times people hear Black Power, they think about Huey P. They think about the brothers in New York, the brothers in Oakland and that sort of thing. Nah, man, Black Power comes from the South. That comes from the South. That call for black economic and political power and control comes from the South. Malcolm X said this so eloquently, and it was a trip because after the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party got frustrated, they got a lot more militant, and they stopped inviting Dr. King in the town. They started inviting Malcolm to town. And I love how Malcolm would define segregation. See, we've been taught that segregation is about white people and black people being in different places. And so now that we see us in the same building, we say, wow, segregation is over. We're making progress. Malcolm X defined it politically. Segregation is when people from outside of your community control the economics and politics inside your community. Segregation is separation but controlled. Separate but controlled politically and economically by somebody else. That's what segregation. The issue wasn't we couldn't go where white people could go. If you'd asked a lot of black people back then, they didn't want to go where white people wanted to go. But what they wanted was control over their own destiny. How you not even gonna be here and you control what jobs I can have? You control how much money I can make, where I can go, what I can build, what I can learn. That's segregation, separate but controlled. And that's what they were fighting. They wasn't fighting for crayons. They wasn't fighting for rainbows around the world. No, they were fighting for economic and political power, land, education. It didn't change. But we got miseducated away from the land. We got miseducated away from a true education that would empower our community. We got miseducated to leave.
Mm.
By the time I came along, I was told, you smart, grow up, get a good job, and get as far away from the black community as you can. Matter of fact, the first half of my life was spent in a black neighborhood. The second half of my life was spent in the hood, but I was in the same place. The whole perception changed. That's political. Towns like Mound Bayou in Mississippi, those black townships, they survived the racism. Integration killed them. Black Wall Street rebuilt after the bombing. It was bombed in 1921, a terrorist act that the bipartisan government continues to reject when they ask for reparations for that terrorist act, right? They bombed it, but guess what? They rebuilt Black Wall Street after that. Integration killed it. Integration don't mean black people and white people love each other now. Stop, y'all. Integration or pseudo-integration was a system that drained the talent and skill and the economy and political power out of the black community. It destroyed black-owned businesses. Hey, you don't got to go to Miss Lulu's bed and breakfast no more. You can go to the Hilton now.
Right.
You ain't got to eat at Uncle Fred's barbecue shop no more. You can go to McDonald's. Your child don't have to go to that dilapidated school. Wait a minute, we're saying the school ain't supposed to be dilapidated. Send us new books, send us new materials, send us new teachers, send us, you know what I'm saying? Send us the resources we need. Nah, what you really want is to close that school and send your baby over here to the white school.
Come on, Baba. And I agree with them doing this, and I didn't mean to interject, but it's our money. So you're not really giving us we're paying for this. So you're not giving us anything.
You're not giving us anything. You're paying us for it.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're paying you for this.
Yeah, we're paying, exactly.
Yes. You know, in most of those black townships and many black communities, Dr. Maat, they were double taxed for education because they were paying a tax to build schools, but the city government was taking their tax dollars and building schools for the white children.
Exactly.
But then blacks would still just put their pennies and twos and fews together and they would build schools for themselves. So they would still be paying the education tax to the city, but financing their schools out of their own pocket.
Exactly.
Integration was supposed to fix that. It was supposed to integrate the money, not the people.
Right, Baba, teach.
We're supposed to integrate the resources, let the people do what they're going to do. Right? Miss Fannie Lou understood that. She was a very proud advocate of the Black Power movement. And she was so proud of young people like Kwame Ture and Huey P. Newton and Angela Davis and others. There was a lot of pressure. If you was a part of that old guard in the civil rights movement, they would often come to you and ask you, well, what do you think about Black Power? And so many leaders would denounce Black Power. A lot of Negro leaders would denounce the Black Power movement. We shouldn't be militant. We shouldn't be this. We shouldn't be that. Because they had won favor with some folks and they didn't want to lose what little funding they were getting. Fannie Lou Hamer didn't do that. Fannie Lou Hamer, even though she had been the face of the Voting Rights Act, she still stood up for Black Power. And she still stood up for young Black people who were standing up and trying to take this movement to the next phase. She went back home, y'all, and she started the Freedom Farm Cooperative. It lasted from 1967 to 1976. She transitioned in 1977. But she went home and she organized a farming co-op with over 1,500 Black families, co-owned and operated over 600 acres of farmland together. She built a community, right? Y'all say, well, it just lasted for a few years. Well, there's a couple of things that happened, right? Number one, when she did that and she spoke up for Black Power, the state of Mississippi and a lot of her friends stopped answering the phones. A lot of them friends in high places, a lot of the Negro leaders who stood next to her to look legit. Now they got their little grant, got their little job. They weren't answering Fannie Lou's call anymore. She faded from the national scene because now she's doing something that a lot of those capitalists, they might call that socialism, Dr. Maat. Now she's talking about land ownership and independence and sovereignty. And so when that message, when she brought home and she said, no, this is the solution. We need self-sufficiency. She faded from the national scene. She kept working until her death her transition in 1977. But we honor Fannie Lou Hamer. We honor her for her stick-to-itiveness, for her courage, for her legacy. She's a shining example of grassroots organizing. She's a shining example of how to be a champion for food security. They were letting people starve in Mississippi. She spoke truth to power, Dr. Maat. She sat on national TV. This woman had been sharecropping since she was 6 years old. She sat right there on national TV and she testified what those officers did to her, the beating that she took when she was trying to vote during a time where if you spoke out, that meant certain death. And she knew it meant certain death because they tried to kill her multiple times, but she didn't stop. She's the embodiment of courage. No, she didn't go to Howard. She didn't go to Harvard or Yale or anything. Nuh-uh. Her school was right there in that field. Her education was right there. And she had every reason not to speak up, but she did, and she made an impact. She's a Black Power visionary. It was efforts like this that sparked what became known as the Black Power movement. Shout out to the Republic of New Africa, you know what I'm saying, who went back down into Mississippi a few years later, attempting to take over the whole state politically. Well, that agenda came from the Mississippi Democratic Party and Fannie Lou Hamer. They say free the land. She was freeing the land. She was a voice for the voiceless. Who was more voiceless than a sharecropper? Who was more voiceless than somebody whose whole existence was picking cotton for somebody else, not making enough money to ever leave? Like I say, she transitioned on March 14, 1977, due to complications of cancer, hypertension, diabetes. This is stressful work. Everything that this woman went through. You talking about dedicating your life to the liberation and upliftment of African people. She's the embodiment of that. We don't all have to go out like that as leaders. But I'm going to tell y'all this. If we don't want more falling before their time, get out here and help. And don't be scared to support. Get out here and help the people in your community. I ain't talking about your favorite YouTuber, though I appreciate the cash apps. Get out there in your community. It's somebody in your community right now that get on your nerves. Every election, y'all know we got to get out here and vote. Hey, y'all know we got to get out here and Miss Lula need a new air conditioner. Miss such, they can't help it, y'all. They were born to serve. They can't help it. Get out here and support them and help them. God put them here to do that. Everybody, it's one in every community. Heck, it's one in every family.
Come on, that part.
All right. Then we're going to close out with her words.
Hold on, Baba. Before you do that, can you go back to that slide, Baba, when it talked about her farming activism? So if the farming is the right there,
Freedom Farm Cooperative.
So I didn't know if you went through these bullets, but it was like one for one. But I'm just like, if you could just go through each of them, Baba, because I don't want people to. I want people to really know what this sister did.
Okay, cool. Now I have it back up on my screen. A little change. Okay, can y'all see it?
We can see it, Baba.
All right, cool. Okay, so the Freedom Farm Cooperative was founded by Fannie Lou Hamer. It was a community-based agricultural initiative. Their goal was to combat poverty, hunger, and economic oppression among Black families by promoting land ownership and self-sufficiency. Served over 1,500 families. That's a lot. Who collectively owned and cultivate over 600 acres of land in Mississippi. The program included healthcare training. It included a collectively owned sewing factory and community gardens, right? I want y'all to keep in mind that during this time, right, Black farming had been systemically under attack for the entire century. Black farmers were just awarded a few years ago a $2 billion settlement because they had been suing the United States Department of Agriculture for the past 40 years for systemically stealing land from Black families and Black people. Oh, and the money still ain't run out yet. It's the latest that I heard. And shout out to all the Black farmers out there. In the midst of this, she was building a farming co-op in Mississippi. It struggled due to a lack of support. Then you had environmental conditions, and you also had her failing health. I want to point out that lack of support because a lot of us be screaming to vote for these personalities that are running for president while they redistricting your community right under your nose, and you ain't paying no attention. We get caught up in the news cycle, the media cycle. We think we're being political because, hey, we can put the first Black person here and the second Black person there. The whole time they suppressing your vote in your own community. They didn't put all kind of new restrictions right there. They're redistricting your community. We're not paying attention. We're not looking at the judges. We're not looking at that. You're not paying attention to your city council. Are you paying attention to your school board? Are you paying attention to your water board? Where do your water come from? Water ain't a limitless resource. Where is it coming from? There's so much that we must pay attention to, that we need to integrate into our lives, that affect our lives on the daily. And when we skip over that and you looking at one person saying, well, why things ain't changed? Because that ain't the one that changes them. You are. They can't change nothing for you. You have to change things for yourself. And when you get in bed with these parties, when we get in bed, historically, when our community gets in bed with these parties, what happens? We lose. Vote any way you want to, but don't lie to yourself and say you're a Democrat because the Democratic Party has stepped up and done something for Black people. You know how many Black people had to die just to be a part of the Democratic Party? You know how many Black townships were burnt down? And you can't even talk about reparations. That's the main thing the Democratic Party should be talking about to you. Hey, man, we owe y'all. Y'all been voting faithfully for us for generations now, and we ain't never paid y'all for the time we burned down Wilmington, North Carolina. We ain't never paid y'all. We ain't never paid y'all for what the Southern Democrats did. You talking about from 1900 to 1965, your people couldn't even vote. And some of your people, some of your family were killed for trying to vote by us. Y'all think reparations is just old for slavery. You need to study what happened after. You need to study what happened since. You need to study what was taken away afterwards. We didn't go straight from the plantation to Jim Crow. People were building things. People were having things. And it was systemically being taken away, often violently. So if you don't think we owe nothing for the first 300 years, don't worry. They owe us plenty for the last 150. Plenty. I'm done. I'm landing my plane, as Dr. Maat says, right? I'm gonna land my plane.
No, Baba, go back to that last slide. Yeah, you said
video,
not that one right there. You said I'm gonna close out with her words, and you were right here.
I want to close out with her words, and it's not letting me play my video.
It's not. Hey, Baba, do this. Hey, Baba, hold up. Pause that real fast. Pause that for me. Check the private chat really quickly. I just sent you something, and then we'll take it back to her words.
Okay, hold on. I got to do this right quick because I got two full screens here. All right, cool. All right.
Were you able to check?
Okay. Oh, I'm good then.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you know, you ain't said nothing but a word.
Okay.
Yeah, you ain't said nothing but a word. I thought I was at 60. Okay, I thought I was there. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Let's see about. And you know what? Let's do some Q&A right after this.
Okay.
All right.
Mississippi is still a very rough place. You know, People is not just walking up like they used to do in the past, walking out, shooting a man down or getting maybe 200 or 300 people carrying you out and lynching you, but it's in a more settled way. They can let you starve to death, not give you jobs. These are some of the things that's happening right now in Mississippi. See, Mississippi is not actually Mississippi's problem. Mississippi is America's problem. Because if America wanted to do something about what has been going on in Mississippi, it could have stopped by now. It wouldn't have been in the past few years between 40 and 50 churches bombed and burned. You see, and this lead me to say, all of the burning and bombing that was done to us and the houses, nobody never said too much about that, and nothing was done. But let something be burned, by a black man, and then, my God, you see, the flag is drenched with our blood.
You better teach.
Because you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We had to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man. As we know, this country was built on the black back of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand it. They know what they've done to us. All across this country, they know what they've done to us. This country is desperately sick, and man is on the critical list. I really don't know where we go from here.
I say,
Baba, I could keep on. I could listen to her talk for hours. I just like she had me over here pumped up, especially when she talked about how our country is sick. And Baba, you and I have had conversations about that, and we share the same assessment that she had nearly 50 years ago. 50 years ago, she's saying America is sick. Fast forward, you and I are saying the same thing. America is sick, morally sick, spiritually sick.
Yes. It's still relevant today. We have to stop being fooled by black faces being put in historical white spaces and thinking that that's an adequate grade or report card or measuring stick on our progress as a community. And we have to start looking at where are we culturally? Where are we economically? Where are we politically? And you don't measure your political power by how many people come out to vote. You measure your political power by how many people understand what they're voting for.
Baba, that part, hold on, let me interject. Malcolm X said voter registration without voter education is pointless. It means nothing. It means nothing. Voter registration without voter education means nothing. So you're telling people register to vote, register to vote, but if they're not politically educated, what does that mean, Baba? But go ahead. I got excited when you started talking.
No. That's the same thing. And like one of the things I notice nowadays, and I was doing some research, and America's had several political party cycles. It hasn't always been a Democratic and Republican Party as the main two parties. Matter of fact, the Democratic and Republican Party used to be one party called the Democratic Republican Party, and then their main opposition was the Federalist Party. Right. The Federalist Party ended up being dissolved. It basically became the federal government. You know what I'm saying? And then the Democrats, Republicans would ultimately split up and become two factions of the same party, the same group of aristocrats that have been sharing power in America for the past 200 years. And very intentionally, getting the populace caught up in party politics and party identification, because as long as the masses are attaching their personalities to these parties, then they can never overthrow the rich. They can never bring balance to the economy. They will never, there'll never be a true shift of the power dynamic in the United States, because everyone, the populace, everybody that's getting screwed together, we think the other person getting screwed is the enemy, and we'll never focus on the common enemy.
Facts, Baba.
Matter of fact, a slave owner named George Washington warned against this. He said, once the party politics take over, then the people, it'll never really be a true democracy. It's an illusion of a democracy. And never before in the United States history has it been made so simplistic and so ignorant as it is today, where you're either Trump or Kamala. You're either red or blue.
Right.
Do y'all realize how much of your thought process you have to cancel in order to buy into that? We don't even listen to policies anymore, Dr. Maya. We listen to talking points, and we call talking points policies.
Right, that part.
Well, I believe in lower taxes. See, I love her policy. She believes in lowering taxes. That's not the policy. That's a talking point. How are they going to lower the taxes?
Right. What's your plan? What's
your plan? Yeah. And then what do you want? Man, I need a living wage. You need to make more money. I need to make more. Well, who's speaking to that? And how are they going to help you make more money? They going to make Elon Musk pay the people more in their factory? Are they going to make, can they make Walmart give true medical insurance and a living wage to their employees? How your property taxes doing?
Going up.
Huh? I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote for that brother that was on TV a few years ago saying the rent is too damn high party. He was a prophet. He was a prophet.
Look, Baba, me too. Baba, me too.
He was a prophet.
Property tax. I'm like, why is my mortgage? Why is my one? I get a lump sum payment, right, with the mortgage, insurance, and taxes. It keep going up. I said, hold on, wait a minute. They like, bitch, your property taxes are going up. Too damn high.
Property tax going up. Man, look,
too damn high.
Yeah, we've been so dumbed down that we think when gas prices go up, it's because of whoever's the president. Oh, gas was too high under Biden. Gas too high under. Okay, and what did he have to do with that process? Meanwhile, you looking at Chevron, them making record profits. But they know they're not gonna get any of the blame.
Right, the president.
They price guys. Oh, it's a war in the Middle East. We can hike the prices up. They're gonna think it's cause it's the war in the Middle East and it's the president's fault. And then they quarter earnings come out and they done made a record profit. Why we hurting and they not hurting? They should be hurting the most.
Right.
Right. And so people like Fannie Lou Hamer, Malcolm X, Dr. King, once they got engaged, Dr. Maya, once I noticed that once they got engaged, a lot of our leaders, once they get engaged, they see the truth. A lot of times they go in with them rose-colored glasses. Fannie Lou Hamer, the Mississippi Democratic Party, and even Representative John Lewis said it in his youth. They did everything by the book. They turned in every piece of paper they needed to turn into to be recognized by the Democratic Party. They raised all the names, the petitions. They did everything by the book. They didn't burn nothing down. They didn't beat nobody up. They voted. They did everything by the book. And when they got right there to the steps to seize power, the door got slammed in their face.
Oh, yeah. That sounds about right. Baba.
Because the person who makes the rules can change the rules.
Change them and break them.
Yeah. Can change them and break them. They're their rules. And we have to understand that. So if we're going to move politically as a people, I know some of y'all want to say, well, we just need to stop. I don't see color. We need to stop thinking in terms of people. You're being looked at by your nation as a people. You're being treated as a people. I know you got a nice suit on, and I know you can speak nasally now. They still think you want us. They do.
Baba said you
We
still
don't
need
see,
to be
we
white
need to
lady.
see the advantages for our children if we move more as a unit or as units, because we're not a monolith. We're not all the same.
Not at all.
But if we move more like units, more like a team, like a culture, like villages, if we circulated our dollars together, if we bought back the hood, okay, the agenda get out the hood, but we mastered that one. But what about the agenda that says let's build a new neighborhood? What about a build a hood agenda? What about a go back to the land agenda? What about an agenda where we say, no, not only are we going to keep our children safe, we're going to build a world around them. We're going to control the images and visuals that are promoted. We're going to divest in any institution that will promote killing and sexual deviance and self-destructive behavior to our children. We're not celebrating that. BET Awards, click, you ain't black on no more anyway. Why are we still watching that?
That's right.
We
That's
don't owe
right.
them nothing. And if you got a political campaign and you want to get out the black vote, show us some black folks. To me, you showing me who you think we all are when you put certain people on stage. We got black female astrophysicists out here. I ain't seen now one of them at a rally. Introduce us to some powerful black women. Introduce us to some powerful black people that we ain't met before. Use the platform to do that. But if they're using the platform to bring out those who are still struggling to find themselves, you see, I try not to disparage and judge, because everybody's on a journey in this lifetime.
That's right. That's right.
But everybody don't need the mic either.
That part, Baba.
Everybody don't need the mic. I shouldn't be voted. Don't invite me to the Black Mechanics of America meeting. I can't fix nothing. Not my thing. I can watch a YouTube video and do the best I can. So I shouldn't be the keynote speaker.
Right.
And I'm cool with that. So when someone puts a keynote speaker in front of you and say, whoa, this represents Black America, you need to ask yourself, what are they saying about us? And what are we saying about ourselves that we're so desperate for acceptance that we'll take anything? Finally, Fannie Lou Hamer was speaking to the working class. She was speaking to poor people. Have you heard anybody on the national scene speaking to poor people lately? They still here. Speaking to working class people. Most of y'all working class. When she say, we're going to bring up the middle class, and they say they're going to bring up the middle class, they ain't talking to us. They're not talking to us. I know we live in an era where you get on social media and act like you got money, but you and I know what's going on. You know what's going on. I know we ain't supposed to say it nowadays. Back in my day, we used to say it when you had no money. Now you got to pretend like you got a little something.
My Papa said, but you and I know what's going on.
I know what's going on. We know what's happening. We out here struggling. And they're trying to pacify you. Don't worry, the other side do it too. Don't walk around and say only black folks. No, not only black folks. That's an American thing, man. Poor white people. All they get is whiteness. They don't get nothing else. They need Obamacare too.
Facts.
They at the food stamp office too. They getting inadequate education too. But the one thing they get, and that's why they went crazy when Obama got elected, even though he ain't do nothing for us. He put a black image in front of him and drove white America crazy. Because the one thing they get is the myth of white supremacy. And when rich white people take that myth away, they're breaking a covenant that they made with poor white people, the working class white man. It says, allow me to exploit you, and I'll give you a race. I'll let you be a race. You'll be a supreme race. I'll give you dominion or a feeling of dominion over a whole people. Now they're addicted to it. They got drunk off of it. That's why Trump is so popular. He makes it feel good. He makes it feel, come on out here and be white, God dog it. You can be white again. Ain't nobody telling you you can be black again. They telling you got to be less black. You too black. Soften up. Don't see color. It's not about that. You don't need to learn your history. That's in the past. Get over it.
Mm.
Everything I talked about tonight has a direct relationship, correlation, and impact on everything that's going on today. Everything. From the time they lied about the 40 acres and the mule to Reconstruction, to Jim Crow and the Restoration, to the Civil Rights Movement, to the Black Power Movement. That's all of that. You just study those things so you can study the nature of our historical, political relationship with the United States and study it beyond the ballot box. Study movements like the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Study the Nation of Islam. You don't have to be a Muslim to study the Nation of Islam and their program, which I feel is one of the best transformative programs in the history of Black people in America. Study the Republic of New Africa. Don't just say you're not a socialist. Go study what socialism is. It won't make you a socialist, but if you mess around and agree with it, guess what? You have a right to. Oh, these communists, they invade, and you don't even know what a communist is. What's communism? They might come over with a t-shirt on and say, we love Black people. You don't know who they are.
Right.
A wise man once told me, because I asked him, I said, are you a Muslim? And he kept asking, he said, what is a Muslim? And I said, man, why you keep asking me what is a Muslim? He says, because I don't know what your definition is. I don't know if your definition matches my definition. I might say yes, and whatever your pre-definition of what a Muslim is, you're going to define me by that.
Right.
He said, are you a Muslim? And I said, no. And he said, what part of us are you not? Or what part of a Muslim are you not? What aspect of our spirituality, our religious system do you not believe in? I said, I don't know. I don't know what a Muslim is. He said, now how do you know you're not one?
Mm.
Don't be afraid of new information. It's okay. Don't get caught up in Adam and Eve. I know Eve bit the apple and they got kicked out the garden. You ain't gonna get kicked out the garden if you eat from the tree of knowledge in 2024. God said it's okay. They already ate it, so you might as well keep eating. Okay, God said it's okay to know something. All right. Yo, I love y'all. Don't mind telling you. We got some suggested readings here. Check out the documentary Fannie Lou Hamer's America. It's in her own words. I love it. It's full of quotes from Fannie Lou Hamer. You talking about mother wit and wisdom? Oh, man. Definitely check out Fannie Lou Hamer's America. All right. There's another great documentary that you can go check out called The Reconstruction Era. I recommend this documentary because it really gets into the nuts and bolts and the details about what African people were attempting to do during Reconstruction. Not just attempting to do, we're doing during Reconstruction. And also, you know what? It's a nice referendum on the Black man, too. The Black man been getting beat up politically. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we ain't never done nothing without the Black woman. But man, there have been times in American history where the Black man has stepped up. All right. So check out The Reconstruction Era. Great book I'm reading right now, Dr. Maat, called The Black Towns by Norman L. Crockett. Right. And it's talking about different townships and communities that Black people were building after slavery. During the Reconstruction era, like Nicodemus, Kansas, Mound Bayou in Mississippi, Tulsa, Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, and others, a lot of them that I didn't even know about. Great book. And it goes into detail and outlines the effort. Man, you're talking about the work and the commitment and dedication that it took to do that. You definitely want to check out The Black Towns, man. And Black Majority by Peter H. Wood is great. It centers around Black resistance from the Stono Rebellion through the Civil War, but also it centers also around South Carolina and the Black townships and that were built in South Carolina and how South Carolina was built on the backs of African people as well. So just to provide some historical context, you have to understand how we got here in order to understand why we are here. Then once you understand why we are here, then you're qualified to talk about where we need to go.
Ah, Shay. Hold on, Baba.
Fire! 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 Fire!
I told you, Baba, that I wore my black excellence shirt for you, Baba. I said today, I said I knew you were going to bring it, so I had to put on my black excellence sweater for
I
you
say,
because I knew you were going to bring it. Family, let's drop some red, black, and green hearts in the chat for Baba, our Mwali Mool, our Saber, our Jegna. Let's drop some red, black, and green hearts in the chat. Show them some love, family. I also put I put at. It's the dollar sign. Hold on, y'all. I'm up here. Hold on. I did at. It's at a who is dollar sign a Huru Academy. I come on, hold on. Dr. Maat gotta get it right, family. Hold on. I gotta get it right. Here we go. There we go. At so dollar sign Ahuru Academy. Family, let's drop some money right now. Let's show Baba some love. Let's drop the red, black, and green hearts in the chat. Let's go to Cash App right now. Let's send them 10, 15, 20 bucks if you can. I'm actually getting ready to do it, Baba. Where's my hold on? I gotta get my little stuff out. Because you know, Baba, one thing I don't do is ask people to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So
give thanks.
I'm getting right now, Baba, and you can verify. You have your phone near you, Baba.
Oh yes, yes, it's
Okay, so
posted
hold
up.
on. You verify it to the people. Hold on. Let me do this right now. And hold on. Let me add this card. I'm gonna add this to it real quick, Baba. I be having different cards for different stuff. So let me replace this. And here we go. I'm in Cash App right now, swapping the card out so I could send you a little something. And family, I hope that you're joining me right now and sending Baba something, just a love donation. Because Baba, to be honest with you, we can't really pay you for the time and knowledge and the work that you
This is fun right here. This is what we love to do.
ah.
This is what we love to do, Doc. We good. We good. So
Yeah, I know,
it's all
Baba, but
good.
like we could never really, pay you for what you do. So but we gotta contribute. Like I
Right.
tell folks, time is money, man. So here you go, Baba. I just did that. And I'm gonna go to the Uhuru. I think I got you in here. Yep, right here, Uhuru Academy. And let me put donation.
All right.
All right, Baba, tell me if it came through. It says it's sending. Yep. That's now you should get an alert like ding ding.
Yeah,
The
yes,
alert.
we
Did it come through for you,
let me
Baba?
see. Let me see.
It come through.
Boom, boom. Say boom, boom.
Good, good, good. So, family, join me right now. Let's send Baba some love.
Give
Let's send him
thanks.
some love. Oh yeah, Baba, no problem. And hopefully the family going to be coming through with more cash apps. You guys are doing a lot, and like I said, it takes resources. So the words are nice, the emojis are nice, but it's
Right.
always good to support people with resources because
I say
resources, Bob, is going to keep the Uhuru Academy going. Right,
it's true.
resources are going to help to
Absolutely.
sustain your family while you're
Absolutely.
doing this work. Right, because it's a Sunday. You could have been kicking it back with Mama and Koyo and the babies, the
Oh yeah.
Watoto, right? But you're right here uplifting and educating us. And so,
Yes.
Baba, we thank you for your time. We thank you for your time. And I think you hit the hammer on the nail, man, that we cannot divorce political activism from Black activism. Everybody has their lane, and I'm glad that you said that too.
Yeah.
So like for me, my lane is education, it's
Right.
STEM, and so we all have our lanes, but we all in some form of fashion have to make sure that we are involved in some political activism. We
I
have to,
say
like you said, knowing your city councilman, and you may not be able to go out there and stomp the yard and knock on all the
right.
doors, but
Right.
you got to be involved in politics to some degree. And I remember my father telling me this, and it took me 30 something years to realize the importance of politics, because he said it. He kept saying, oh, you keep talking about economics, that's good, but what about politics? What about politics? So I'm hearing my pops talk about that. And then I started getting into like reading Dr. Amos Wilson, reading Dr. John, I said Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Claude Anderson. So I was reading Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Amos Wilson, and they both talked about being involved in politics.
Yes.
And so I had to go eat that humble pie and say, Pops, you're right. You're right about that. I should have been, getting into politics and things of that nature more so. So family, we got to make sure that we get involved in politics. Like Baba said, know your judges, know your city councilman, right? Know your mayor, your governor, your superintendent of school system. Know these people, vote for these people, and go out there and make demands. Show up at the meetings, go to city hall, go to the town hall meetings. Show up, but we have to be there, family. We have to. And so anyway, Baba, I got to bring you back for part 2, because all presenters come on, they do a 2 parts. So family, this lecture right here will be on YouTube. I have a playlist called Black African Power Series. And so, Bob, I'm going to add this right to that one. We brought on Baba Mwali Mubarudi, Baba Imhotep Fadiu. We brought on Dr. Tyreen Wright, brother Anka Cat, he came on. And so now we have your stuff, Baba. So we had to arrange a part 2 for you to come on to talk about, I guess, the power of African-centered education. I think that'll be an easy one for you to slam dunk, Baba, but to talk about that and the history of it, right? And we really get down to the history of how we've always educated ourselves, and we can go all the way back to Kemet with that. We can go to West Africa. And let's show that we've always educated our own people and built institutions to edify our people. And so anyway, Baba, the families in the building, they said it was a great show. They said, we love you, Baba. We love you, Doc. They said sent somebody named Brother Davis said he sent you something. Brother Davis Haynes said he sent you something. Thank you so much. Brother Hotspot Casino says politics is a part of history. I shame. Uh-oh. My mommy is in here, Baba. She dropped you 2 hearts. Mama didn't drop you 2 hearts, man. My mommy didn't drop you some hearts. I see Sister Ladoja is in the building. I see the Queen. She just celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday to your Queen. I see the Queen Mother Rashamella is in the building. Who else? Look at this. Brother Ronnie said, he said, this is what I be looking for Black history. I say,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Sister Donette said, thank you, Brother Matthew Ali. Drop the red, black, and green. Desmond Brown, peace and love to you. D dropped the red, black, and green to you. Sister Juju says she missed it. Sister Juju, you got to watch it. Watch it in the archives. You would love it.
Back, sis.
You would love it, Sister Juju. You would love it.
Right there.
Sister Lisa said the Black Panthers was definitely, absolutely. We cannot, we can't divorce political activism from Black activism. We just can't. All right, family. And so make sure that you join me. Just drop the Cash App. And I'm gonna be checking with Baba too. I'm gonna say, Baba, did anybody send you any Cash App? So I'm gonna check with Baba to make sure.
It's looking nice right now.
Okay, so they did. All right. I love
right now. Give thanks, fam.
I love the Maadian family. I love the Maadian family.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Give thanks, family. I was signed into another account. I said, well, hold up. And I had to switch accounts. I switched accounts and my phone said, oh, like, okay, yeah, it's going down right about now. Give thanks, y'all. Give thanks. And I want to give a special shout out, if I can, of course, to my wife, my beautiful wife, Nkoyo Ojuwo. Yes. But I want to shout out to my brother, Baba Rataski, Abu Baba of the House of Hathor. Dr. Maat, we're going to be doing a 4-week Black History course at the House of Hathor here in Columbia, South Carolina, starting on November 28th and ending on December the 28th. As we celebrate the 3rd day of Kwanzaa. It's going to be every Saturday at the House of Hathor. I'll send you a flyer as well.
I saw the flyer. I'm getting ready to pull it up. I'm getting ready to pull it up right now so the family can see it.
So every Saturday at the House of Hathor, it's going to be live. I'm thinking about streaming it, but at the same time, we're really digging into the community with this one. You know what I'm saying? And so it's going to be live. Y'all know anybody in the Columbia, South Carolina area, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful course. And we're calling it African History for Beginners, right? And so we're talking to folks who say, man, I don't know enough. I want to know more about our story. There it is right there. Exploring our story. Black History for Beginners class at the House of Hathor. We're going to learn about our history before slavery. Okay, ancient African history. We're gonna bring it all the way up to the present. But most importantly, you're gonna walk away feeling so much better about yourself than you did when you came in. You don't even know how much you don't love yourself yet. Y'all know that's love. You love yourself. But when you come through this class, you're gonna love yourself. All right. And you're gonna love our history. You're gonna walk out saying, I knew Black was beautiful. Now I got proof.
Baba, I think you all should live stream it.
You think we should
And
live
just
stream
and
it?
just and Baba, do a Zoom, charge a fee,
Yeah.
every you said it's going to be once a week at the House of
Mhm.
Hathor. And I remember
Mhm.
you brought me there when I came to
Yeah.
when I came to South Carolina to visit. You took me on over there, and it was absolutely beautiful. A
Yeah.
lot of artifacts in there. They had all kinds of stuff that you can get. But if
Nice.
you live stream it, that would be hot.
Okay.
People could just pay a fee to come
Yeah.
in, and
Yeah.
whatever you all decide, and then just register that way. Register through Zoom, pay a fee, and watch it. I think that
You
would
know
be
what? We're
hot.
gonna go ahead and set that up, Dr. Maat. We're
I
gonna
think
set
that would
that
be
up.
hot. And so
Yeah.
this is every Sunday. This is
Every
every
Saturday.
Sunday, every Saturday for
Uh-huh.
how many hours? 2?
Like, yeah, 2 hours.
2 hours, and this
Yeah.
is going to be
Hour and a
starting.
half, 2 hours. I say 2 hours because y'all got to help me clean up when I finish.
Okay, so about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours,
Yeah.
and then you can watch and then get this history. And you said it's going to be 4 sessions, right?
Yeah. It's gonna be 4 sessions. And it's just our first go round. So it's gonna be 4 sessions. And then from this, you'll graduate to the next intermediate course that we'll be bringing on probably in February.
Beautiful. Let's do it, Baba. Let's do it. Now I'll promote it. I'll put it out there.
I know. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. And I appreciate you.
Hey,
This
appreciate you,
partnership,
Baba.
look here.
Baba
you
said,
know,
look
I'm
here.
look here, man. I'm looking forward to the UAC or the next UACI STEM camp. Oh, and congrats on the paper. I know the paper got accepted. I got the
Thank you,
email.
Baba. You got the email,
Great
Baba. We
job.
doing it. We doing it,
You know what
Baba.
I'm
We doing
saying?
it. We doing it, Baba. We doing it. We just hitting them. Bow. Hitting them,
Yeah,
Baba. Thank
yeah.
you very much, Baba. We hitting them. We hitting
Hitting
them
them
with
over
that
the
good old
head.
information. So thank you, Baba. I give thanks to you. I give thanks to shout out to Brother Onk, man. I'm thinking about
Yeah,
Brother Onk. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about, I'm sitting here thinking about Baba Kwame Nakoto. I'm thinking about Dr. Malefe Asante and all of the people who influenced, and fed, this African-centered STEM model,
that's right.
Baba Imhotep. So if it wasn't for people like you guys, I always say you all my predecessors, Professor James Small, Dr. Kaba Kamene, the predecessors, this model, I wouldn't have gone this direction,
Right.
And so I just give thanks for all of you who
That's
helped with the development of this model, who influenced it, and who feed it. The UACI feeds the African-centered STEM model. In fact, it was one of the first implementations of it. And so, Bob, I give thanks for you, man. And so, yeah, man. We
right.
doing it, man. We doing it.
Work.
We doing it. We're doing it. We're gonna keep on doing it.
Absolutely.
Ashe. So, Baba, let's do it next Sunday if you're available. We'll
Mhm.
do it again at 7:00 p.m.
That'll
Eastern
work.
Standard Time. Family, make sure before you get out of here that you thumb up the video, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channels. I know Baba's live streaming on his platforms. I'm live streaming on mine, but subscribe to our YouTube channels, hit the notification bell so that whenever we go live, you are notified. Brother Davis, I do see you. And yes, sir, I am on Facebook. I'm on
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok, and
Oh, and
YouTube.
that's a beautiful sister. That's Sister Davis.
Oh,
Celestial.
Sister Davis, not Brother
Yeah.
Davis. Okay, Sister Davis. Okay, it's a sister. All right. Thank you so much, Baba, for making that correction. So, family, make sure that you subscribe, thumb it up. Also, share this live. Put this link in your friend circle, your friend group chat, your family group chat. Get the word out. All right, that we're live, and we'll be live again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you all joining in. You could have been anywhere in these
That's right.
YouTube streets, but you were right here with Dr. Maat and Baba Amin. And
Right.
I thank you for your mind, and I thank you for your behind. Peace and Black African excellence. Bobby, you did a